right, so let's go over a couple directions first. I know I have a big group in the cafeteria, and then I have a group of e-learners. E-learners, you can ask your questions in the chat box. I'll be periodically looking at that. All of you students in the cafeteria who have been so patient, I want you to just raise your hand there and give one of the adults in the room your question, and they'll somehow maybe give you a microphone, or maybe they'll tell you or tell me what the question is. But somehow we'll get questions answered for those people in the cafeteria too. And I think we'll just go ahead and dive right in. Yesterday I was a little bit chatty, so I'm going to try and be more efficient today with your time. So let me share my screen here. All right, what I want to do is welcome you to Merritt Island High School. We hope that all of you finish strong down at 8th grade, and that you're able to join this very special school that we have up here. It's a school with a lot of pride and spirit and tradition, and Mrs. Zorn is new to us this year, and she's learned all about that. And there is a lot of school spirit, isn't there?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, when you guys make it up here, you're going to feel that as well. So we also have some very serious focus points that we all work on, whether it's the principal at the very top, or students, or custodians, or teachers, counselors even work on these goals. And we really take them to heart, doing our very best for each other every single day. And we want to encourage you to do them down at Jefferson so that you're prepared to come up here in high school. Stay focused. Sometimes the Jefferson teachers will tell me that students hear this presentation and all they think about is the cool electives and going to get into auto shop and, oh my goodness, I can't wait for this. And they forget about the things they need to do down there at Jefferson. So stay focused so you make it up here with all the other kids in that room. All right, something new that you're going to learn about is credits. And counselors, boy, we eat, breathe, and think credits 24/7. It's like your currency. That's what you're going to use to get your diploma at the end of 4 years. And it all starts in 9th grade. So you're going to need 26 credits at the end of your 4 years. You'll get credits each year with each class that you take. One of the handouts that your teachers are going to pass out to you, and e-learners, you're going to have to come to the front office there at Jefferson to get these handouts. Okay, that's went home in an email to your parents on their phones. So this is a blue handout. It's double-sided. It talks about credits and what you're going to need to graduate. So it's important that you know that. Everybody is responsible for their own credits. And so you got to know what you need to graduate. You just got to, because you're taking care of one person, we're taking care of hundreds. All right, so keep this paper. Use it when you're registering and picking your classes so you can see what they're going to count as. All right, the registration card. Woo, woo! This is fun, isn't it, Mrs. Zorn? This is what you're going to do and use to tell us what classes you would like to take. So it's really important that you check the sticker up at the top to make sure that you have the one with your name on it. And e-learners, when you come into the front office there at Jefferson, you're going to need to check the sticker to make sure it's your card. Up at the top of the card, if you have a pencil and a pen, I'm not sure when they called you down to the cafeteria, if they told you to bring something to write with. But these cards are due next Tuesday. And so if you have something to write with, go ahead and write it on top in any of this space so that you remember next Tuesday, you have to bring this card back to your teachers, or those of you who are in the cafeteria, I'm going to let Mrs. Neal tell you who you need to bring this to, because I know you're not in a social studies class this semester. So, but somehow we got to get this card back to put you in the right classes. I mean, you don't want us to put you in something you don't want, right? All right. So at the bottom, if you have something to write with, you can go ahead and sign your name at this point. That's fine too. All right. Now we're going to kind of hit some highlights here on the card. So I first want to draw your attention to the core box. This is the part of the registration card that has your core subjects, like your math, your English, your science, and your social studies. Those are pretty much straightforward at Jefferson as they are here at Merritt Island High School. We rely on teachers to make recommendations for these courses. We do it up here like that, and Jefferson is doing it too. So your current math teacher is going to know what math you should take next year. I'm going to go over the different classes in the next slides so you'll know about choices. You might need to have a conversation with your teacher about where you're trying to get as far as college or military. And if you have an opinion on what class you should be recommended for next year, we encourage you to have dialogue with your teacher. But we do trust them because they know what kind of work ethic you have, and they know your skills and achievements, and they also know your weaknesses. And so they'll be able to guide you to be the most successful ninth grader that you can be. Now, something else I want to highlight is there's two sets of directions here, and it's a good thing to read your directions for anything. So please pay attention to the directions. There's some at the beginning and then there's some at the end. And then I want you to also notice that when you're looking at the individual classes, you will see that there are some classes that are printed in thick black print, and then there's some that are printed in just regular print. And the bold ones are the advanced classes that require your teacher to initial. So you have to talk to your Jefferson teacher and ask her to initial for the advanced Merritt Island class. Okay? All right, next slide. All right, so math, this is the sequence of math. It starts with algebra in high school, nothing lower than algebra. So it goes from algebra to geometry to algebra 2. So what your teacher recommends is basically what class you're in there in math in 8th grade. So if you're sitting in a geometry honors class right now, then that teacher is going to recommend you go to algebra 2. That's how it works. If you're in algebra 1 right now, they're going to recommend that you go to geometry. Okay? The difference here with algebra 1 is this is the algebra 1 that's most commonly taken. It's algebra 1 in 1 year. But there are some times when a student is not quite ready for that. They might be weak in math, or they might be struggling in their 8th grade math class. And so if that's the case, then your teacher may recommend you for this math class. Okay? All right, so that's enough of math. Let's move on to English. English, everybody does English 1 at high school, but we do have different types of English 1. So go ahead and take a look at this slide, you'll notice there's a regular phase of English 1, there's honors, and then we have something called pre-AP. When you're an upperclassman, junior and seniors, there's some AP English classes that are really kind of challenging. And so if you're thinking you might be one of those advanced students that's ready for those AP English classes when you're a junior, pre-AP English is the way to go. Now you'll notice with my slide here, I have a little asterisk, and that has a little note down here at the bottom. If you're thinking about joining our AP Academy, that has a special application. I'm going to go over that more later, but this is the recommendation of the AP Academy. So if you're thinking along those lines, you might be an advanced student right now, you might be in that Galileo program or something in an advanced English class and wanting to go further, like into AP English later on, this is a good class for you, pre-AP English, okay? Social studies, every ninth grader does world history. We have 3 different kinds of world history. We have the regular, the honors, and the AP world history. Notice my little star here. This is an AP Academy recommendation. Okay, so this is actually a college level class that some students are ready for in their 9th grade year, which means really advanced because it's a college level class. Really challenging, but very exciting to stick your toe in that, you know, this early. All right, science. Science is getting kind of tricky. You'll notice there's all these science classes listed, and that's because the state has done something special with you guys. And I hear down at Jefferson, there is actually a biology class going on down there. And so, boy, does that just, I can't figure it out. What do I do? What do I do? Well, here we used to start with biology. That's what everybody started. So now there's some changes. So in 9th grade, you can pick physical science, or your teacher can recommend physical science or biology. Those are typically where everybody's going. It might be biology honors, or it might be pre-AP biology. But those are kind of what we've been used to. Now, if you're in that honors biology class right now down in 8th grade and you're just setting the place on fire, strong student, good at memorizing vocabulary, advanced, very dedicated, you might want to choose this class with your teacher's recommendation, AP Biology. That is like the world history where you're taking a college level class in high school. Very, very challenging. And you don't want to do too many at once. So, but that's an option if you really did well in that biology honors, okay? All right, now 10th grade chemistry, that's usually something in 10th grade, okay? That's why I wrote there typically. But it could happen that you're in that biology class right now and you maybe didn't love it. Like, yeah, didn't really love it. I did good, I'm fine, I passed it. But I can't stand a whole nother year of AP biology or proof, you know, I just can't do it. So after biology comes chemistry. That's how we do it in high school, biology, chemistry, and then we recommend physics. And that's kind of a traditional thing that colleges see on transcripts and they go, oh yeah, this is college preparatory, biology, chemistry, physics, okay? So if you're in biology right now and you're not going into AP biology, chemistry is also something that's your next science. That's what you should take, okay? Just know that it could possibly have some 10th graders in there with you, which is not a bad thing. All right, next up we have back to the card. Okay, this is your registration card. The teachers have passed that out for you. I want to also point out to you a couple things. The column there that says CRD, that stands for credit. What we're trying to tell you there is how many credit you'll get for that course when you take it for a year. So for example, under the world languages, you'll see we only have German and Spanish, but they're year-long classes. They're 1 credit, okay? So that's what the CRD means. And most of our classes, if you just scan down, most of our classes at Merritt Island are year-long classes. But we do have these little bitty halvesy things. They're hard, aren't they, Mrs. Zorn? It's hard to match them up because if you have a class that's only half a year, you have to do something the other half of the year. We don't just give it to you off or anything like that. You have to have another class. So you gotta, when you're doing this card, you gotta think in the year. So that's what this slide is trying to show you. If you pick a semester class, you're gonna have to pick another one that lasts a semester. And I have an example down here at the bottom, okay? And how someone might put the markings on the card. So that, because they're not 2 separate choices, even though they're 2 separate classes. They're both going to be counted as one of your choices. We're going to practice this together in just a minute. Okay, let's try this. If you have that pencil that you can write on this, let's do this one together. All right. Career research is a class that's required that all 9th graders take. And if you notice on the second box down, there is a class called careers. And in parentheses, it says required for graduation. So every single one of you in that cafeteria or in the Zoomerland should be putting 1A next to that career research. Oh, wait. I know the question box is blowing up. Wait. I want you to put the 1A and hold that question about virtual school. Just hold on to it, okay? I'll get to it. You're going to put 1A next to the career research, and then next to it, or on another line, I want you to find another half credit course that we could pair up. So, for example, if you're sporty,
that was easy,
and you like a sport class, then you could do career research as 1A and team sports as 1B. And that is a choice. That's one of your 6 choices. Makes sense? This is always a hard one to explain. Here's what it would look like on a card. 1A careers, 1B team sports. Okay, so that's one of my 6 choices. All right, I'm going to take a minute here and I'm going to look at my question box because there might be some questions, right? Okay. Now, Mrs. Zorn sees where the question box is, but I don't. Good. Or chat. Okay. All right. Kristen, you're laughing. Why are you laughing, honey? This is serious stuff. All right. Goodness gracious. Okay. I think that's it for the questions or comments from Kristen. All right. Okay, let's go back then to our slideshow. All right. So the directions at the top of the card say you're going to be picking 6. We are all planning on going to a 7-period day next year. Pretty place. And that means you're going to have 7 periods. 4 are going to be your core and 3 are going to be your electives. So you're picking 6 because I want to know, and Mrs. Zorn wants to know what your first choices are. We want to try and make you happy. Then we also need backups. So that's why 6, okay? Some are going to be first choices, some are going to be backups, but I need you to hear me on this. Any one of those 6s can be on your schedule. It's really quite hard to change a schedule at high school because it can mess up all the other classes, and sometimes we just can't make it work. Plus, we like to build your schedule so that we have the right number of classes. So that's why you can't really change your mind. So you have to pick 6. Weird. All right, so some thoughts about electives. And this is serious, so I'm going to put on my serious face. You're building a transcript to take you into adulthood. And that transcript needs to say something about you. And you as a high school student, every step of the way, you need to think, what are these choices saying about me? So you got to think about who is going to be looking at your transcript in 4 years. If it's, your mother's couch, then, who cares? But if you have goals to go to college, or maybe the military, or maybe you just have your eye on a fabulous job somewhere, all of those places look at your transcript. And so you want to make your choices reflect where you want to go. So you don't just pick things because Becky's picking it. You got to really do your research. On our website, and later on I'm going to, in the presentation, give you the link, but on our website, we have something called an instructional handbook, and it has a lot of good information about everything from scholarships to course descriptions. And so if Becky is signing up for childcare and you're going to copy Becky, you need to read about childcare so that you're not surprised when those little babies are sneezing and drooling all over you, because they're real children. And the students who go into childcare have the real business of teaching them so that they're ready for school. I mean, like total real learning here, people. They also have to do this extra application. So your teachers there have to recommend you for this, because we have to take care of the little children, and we can't have students teaching them that aren't going to take it seriously and write good lesson plans and work real hard to get them ready for kindergarten, because they have to get ready. And e-learners at home, when you come and pick up your stuff from the front office, if you're interested in that childcare, don't forget to get the application here. Okay, so you know what you need to do. All right. Okay, enough of that. So let's talk about some electives in more detail. Just so you know, everybody has to take a performing art. So for 1 year, you're going to leap, sing, or dance. Woo! Isn't that fun? No, not really. There's other choices. If you don't like leaping, singing, or dancing, there's other choices. I was kind of shy in high school. Can you believe that?
No. No.
Okay, well, I was. So here are the performing electives that we have at Merritt Island. So pretty obvious. Chorus, says it all. You're going to be singing. These are something called fine arts, and they also count. So this was my choice. I did 2D art in high school because I was shy and I wanted my drawing to perform for me. So that's what I did. But there's other ways. Look at these exciting classes. Career and technical education. Now this is something new probably. We have a lot of classes up at the high school that are very career focused. So like
I would say early childhood, like you named, is pretty career
Oh my
focused.
gosh, yeah, you're teaching, you're writing lesson plans, you're teaching kids. Those kids in automotive, I think they worked on our principal's car, didn't they? So yeah, they're doing real stuff too. So all of these, when you look at these choices, they're very specific to kind of careers. So I want you to read in that educational handbook about them before you decide. The other thing you need to remember, and this was a question from yesterday, it was really good. I wish I could remember his name, but he asked me in the chat box, what do they do in digital multimedia? And I had to explain that all of these are multi-year programs. So it's not like just 1 year you do this. They go on for years, and you get these fancy dancy certifications. And at graduation, we get to throw those ropes around them and different tassels, and we get them all decorated when they get one of those certifications, because they're big deals. They're the same thing that people take on tests when they're grown-ups working at NASA or working at a Honeywell computers or any of that Harris stuff. So it's huge, big deal. So you're not just signing up for 1 year, you're kind of investing and going all the way through, usually to 3 years, okay, to get your career and technical and all the certifications they offer. Notice my little asterisks here. Some of them do meet the leaping, singing, and dancing requirement too. And then some of them are application only, like childcare, our HEAT Academy, and our Da Vinci Academy. We also have a third academy I'll talk about later, Fame Academy, but it doesn't have any certifications with it except for one at the very end when you're a senior. It's a cooking, kind of chefy, kind of nutritionist class. All right, kind of goes with those people that are wanting to be chefs and work in restaurants or hotels or things like that. Okay. All right, academic electives, you've got German and Spanish here. Remember, most students are taking those for qualifying for scholarships or going to universities. I will tell you that a lot of the universities are wanting language proficiency. And so when you sign up for Spanish 1 and 2, I want you to work really hard and learn Spanish, because as your counselor, I'm going to recommend you go into 3 and 4 too, because what they're doing is they're giving students proficiency tests up at the college. And so, and if you're not proficient, they're making you take Spanish up there too. So I just learned that this year, actually. Okay. All right, here's another graduation requirement I want you to consider when you're filling out your card. HOPE is our state's PE requirement. It stands for Health, Opportunities, and Physical Education. HOPE is a required course. It's expected that you will complete that course before your junior year. And PE is an elective. So when you're looking at that physical education box on the card, and you're seeing things like weight training, team sports, basketball, volleyball, tennis, those are electives. They count in your total for graduation, but they're not a graduation requirement. Nobody has to do any of those. But the HOPE is a requirement, okay? And so there are ways that a student graduates without doing HOPE. There's 2 ways, actually. And one is that if the student is in the JROTC program, which is our military Army leadership program that we have here on campus, if they take that class and pass it for 2 years, then I can waive their HOPE requirement and their performing arts requirement. So ROTC is kind of a big deal. Now, it's not something you want to sign up for if you don't want to wear the Army uniform every Wednesday and get inspected. And
They will not pass you if you don't wear your uniform.
yep. And you have to cut your hair. And so there's rules. So, but it can waive a performing art and a PE requirement, and expected to be before your junior year. The reason I talk about getting these requirements done before your junior year is two reasons. There's a lot of really great things that start happening when you're a junior, and there's opportunities that weren't available to you before. And when you get those opportunities, some of them rule you out if your requirements aren't done. So like this year, I'm a senior counselor. So I have some students that wanted to do full-time at the college, and they couldn't because they'd never done their hope. They waited to the last minute. Bad idea. Oh yeah, what's that, Miss Soren? Tell them what that is.
So teaching assistant is this really cool course, but you have to have everything completed, which is HOPE, your online career research, and your performing arts. Once you have all of those, you can do a teaching assistant. Teaching assistant is cool because for a whole year, you get to be with a teacher, or you can be with some staff member in our school. So some people work in the front office, some people work with our attendance clerk. We actually have a TA here in guidance. And TAs do everything from filing to running errands around the school for us. And they get to really participate and kind of learn more about what we do. But the coolest part is they get volunteer hours as well.
Oh yeah. Why does somebody need volunteer hours?
So some schools require it, but a big one is Bright Futures. Every year it changes just slightly how many hours. But Bright Futures does require you to have volunteer hours as well as most scholarships.
Yes, yeah, good point. And that's something that you want to be thinking about. So later on, these great things can happen, but not unless you've taken care of your business beforehand. So really try to do your card based on requirements. The other thing I wanted to point out there at the bottom is that there is a varsity athlete or junior varsity athlete waiver too. It doesn't take care of the performing arts, but it can waive the HOPE. So if you play a sport at our school, and it's really wide open, it can be JV or varsity, it can be fall or spring, it can be in 2 separate years or both in the same year. You could do a fall sport and a spring sport next year, and you could be done with the HOPE waiver. We just have to do the paperwork and guidance. So don't think it happens automatically. You got to come to guidance and get that form and tell us what sports you did, because unfortunately we don't make it to all of the different activities that we have. There's just too many at this school. All right. Intensive reading. That's a different kind of elective. It's not on the card, but we use it for remediation up here at Merritt Island High School. So depending on your insight reading test scores and your FSA scores, you may end up being placed in an intensive reading class if you're below grade level in reading. And I don't see that as a bad thing, because everybody can read better, and all of your classes up here are going to have a lot of reading. So keep working hard down there at middle school. Do well on your insight test and your FSA test. Take them seriously, because there are consequences to not doing that. All right, so just a couple reminders before we close. Registration forms are due next Tuesday. You need to have your teacher recommendation from Jefferson if you're signing up for an advanced course. Those advanced courses are the bold ones. And then lastly, at the very bottom, there's a place for your parent to sign. Get your parent to sign it. Now, I said at the beginning I was going to show you some helpful links. And so I'm going to do that, because this presentation will be up on the the school's website. And so I want to just show you, let me put my little pointer down. And I should probably check the box here and see if we have any more chat. All right. For e-learners, will the teacher signatures be on the form when I pick it up? Oh my gosh, Mac, good question. No, I don't think so. I think what you're going to do as an e-learner is probably what our e-learners are doing. They're coming to school, they're picking up their forms in the front office, and they're walking around campus getting their teachers to sign off on it. That's what we are doing. Mrs. Neal, your guidance counselor, will tell you if I'm wrong. Good question, Mac. Thank you very much for asking that. All right, I'm keeping an eye on this. All right, I'll go back to the questions in just a minute and check there. This is your link to the Academy application. The academies, remember I said they're kind of career focused. So we have 3 of them. We have Da Vinci, which is engineering. We have FAME, which is the fine arts and multimedia. This has got a lot of artistic students in it. They're sculpture, they're web designing, that kind of stuff. And this is the HEAT Academy. This is more hospitality, tourism, entrepreneurship. So a lot of students that are interested in working restaurants and hotels, they'll sign up for HEAT Academy. This is pretty much engineering. So this is a simple application. It's 1 page long, and at the bottom it tells you who to email it to it. Okay, so really simple. Yikes, the orange one. This one.
Yep.
All right, so the next slide is about a very different kind of academy that we have. If you're an academically advanced student, we have something called an AP Academy. Excuse me. Gotta wet my whistle. Anyway, the AP Academy is for academically advanced students. We have a link to their website here. You have to apply to this program, but if you are a dedicated advanced student, I highly recommend the AP Academy. There's an application and some teacher recommendations that have to be filled out. But while you're doing your exploring, I want you to click on the link, go to their website here. This is from our school website. And I want you to watch this presentation about a capstone presentation. College Board, is the company that makes all the AP tests, they award students capstone diplomas when they meet a certain criteria. They take a couple capstone classes, and then they take about 4 other AP classes. They pass the test, and they're awarded a capstone diploma. This is such a big deal that on college applications that I've been helping students fill out for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks is one of the questions that asked me, is this student a capstone candidate? And I can tell that from the classes that they have taken. So it's really something, if you're advanced and dedicated, you should check out. All right, so this here, oh, same slide. This here is a link to our website, and you can go to our website and scroll down to our school news. And this is that booklet here that has all the descriptions of the courses. So good for you to read that, okay?
It also has that graduation requirement. So if you lose that blue slip, it has that also in there.
In the booklet. You know what I do is when I start a new class, and you guys are my new class next year, I actually print out that book because I like to know what you're told for your first year of high school. Because typically things don't change from what you're told. Sometimes in recent years, under it happens more that they change things on us in the middle of the road. But I like to know what we were told the first year. Okay. So I think I have one more recommendation here for our YouTube. Fun, 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 fun. There is a YouTube page that if you do a search, Merritt Island High School, and subscribe to it, you'll get a lot of stuff from us, or maybe not a lot, but you'll get to see some interesting clips. You'll get to see our outstandingly spirited principal, and you will get to watch our showcase video. Showcase was something that before the pandemic, we used to have all you guys come up here and walk around and visit all the clubs and stuff. We can't do that this year. And so one of the showcases, I think from last year, is up there. So you can see that on YouTube if you want to hear. It's got some interesting interviews with some students. So woohoo, go to YouTube. All right, now, before I close, let's check. I'll come back to what this means down here at the bottom. But I'm going to check the chat room one more time and see. Oh, Scarlett has a good question. What does the W and M mean on chorus? Our choruses are segregated, men and women. So the M is men and W is women. So, and then she has another question. Do you have to apply for AP Academy in 9th grade? Could you do it in 10th? Can you take AP classes without being in the academy? Excellent, excellent question. Oh my God.
That was easy.
Great question. No, yes, you don't have to be in the AP Academy to take AP courses. You can apply later on if you don't want to do it in 9th grade. Sometimes people like to just come to a new school and check things out. But you can wait. And so some people say, well, then why do the AP Academy if you can do everything without being in the academy? Then the nice thing about the academy is Mrs. Ash runs it. The students have an AP teacher as an extra advisor. They also provide some extra experiences. Last year, before the pandemic, they visited colleges and they did some neat activities. Community service, it helps the students organize that, so they make sure and get that for their Bright Future Scholarship. There's layers into the AP Academy that kind of help you get to the end of the 4 years and everything is available. You haven't forgotten to do something on your own that you needed to do to be a Bright Futures candidate or something like that. All right, boy, thank you for that great question. Well, let's wrap this up here. I'm going to tell you about our principal, Mr. James Raymer. He's very, very spirited. And he has this thing, and I'm so glad you're here because yesterday I was doing it all by myself, even though they heard it all the way down the hallway in guidance. So what he does is he says, I want to say it loud and say it proud. And then the whole school says, go Mustangs. And I'm telling you, if you happen to be walking past classrooms out in the hallway, you'll be surprised because suddenly it will be like thunder in hallways or something like that. So, all right, here we go. Say it loud. it proud. Go Mustang! Woo! Woo! Woo-hoo!
That was easy.
All right. Thank you for your attention today. I so appreciate it. I hope you got some valuable information. We're going to be posting this presentation on the school websites. So if your friend was absent or something today, they can still see it. All right. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Can't get it below an hour.
Sorry, that was crazy. We had the cafeteria workers go in the back. Oh my gosh.